Right now at noon, Madison police investigating a shooting on the south side. What officers are saying at this hour. Plus, President Trump showing support for his Pentagon chief after new reports that he shared military details with others. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Josh Breiter. Right now, Madison police are investigating a shooting on the city's south side. Madison police say that one person was shot on Baird Street around 8 this morning. That person is in hospital in critical condition. The suspect fled the scene before officers arrived, but was detained by Fitchburg police. Police say the suspect and victim knew each other. During a news conference, acting Madison Police Chief John Patterson addressed a possible uptick in shootings.
From January 1st through mid-April, we're actually seeing a 10% decrease in the number of shootings citywide. So we've had a cluster here in recent days, but we're still trending in a good way.
No word yet on the motive for this shooting. A Madison woman accused of shooting and killing the father of her child last year is pleading guilty to a lesser charge. Court records show 28-year-old Tamar Beasley pleaded guilty to charges of homicide by negligent handling of a dangerous weapon and second-degree recklessly endangering safety. She was initially charged with first-degree intentional homicide for the shooting death of 31-year-old Andre Rice. On April 10th of last year, Rice was found with a gunshot wound outside an apartment complex on Northport Drive. According to a criminal complaint, Beasley claimed Rice punched her before she shot him. Security camera footage from the apartment allegedly shows the two got into an argument, but Rice cannot be seen throwing a punch. Beasley is set to be sentenced on June 25th. A garage is damaged on Madison's west side after an SUV crashed into it. Take a look at this. Fire and EMS crews were called to this home on Tree Lane Monday afternoon. There they found the vehicle in a retaining wall. The driver is not hurt, but the crash took out the corner post of the garage. The urban rescue team has since stabilized the garage to prevent it from collapsing. Republican state lawmakers are accusing Governor Evers of defying the law and going against the president. The Evers administration sent out a memo to state employees detailing what to do if immigration officials or federal agents show up to their workplace. The memo says to remain calm, alert a supervisor, don't answer any questions from agents, and contact an attorney. Republicans who control the legislature and minority Democrats are taking opposite sides on dealing with immigration. Last month, the Assembly passed a bill requiring sheriffs to comply with ICE. Governor Evers says he is likely to veto this. Meanwhile, Democrats introduced a bill that would block cooperation with ICE until there is a warrant. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is under fire again after new reports that he shared military details. But the response from the White House is the same. The president trusts his Pentagon chief. Natalie Brand has the story from Washington.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth appeared on his former network to once again defend his actions.
I look at war plans every single day. What was shared over Signal, then and now, however you characterize it, was informal, unclassified coordinations for media coordination and other things. That's what I've said from the beginning.
Sources say he shared details about military airstrikes targeting Houthis in a private Signal chat group that included his wife, brother, and personal attorney. It comes amid a shakeup at the Pentagon. Hegseth accuses 3 former aides of leaking information to the media. The fired officials say the attacks against them are baseless, writing they still have not been told what exactly we were investigated for.
Those folks who were leaking, who have been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda and what we're doing.
President Trump says he's happy with Hegseth.
He's doing a great job. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees.
But the president is not happy with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, calling him a, quote, major loser for not lowering interest rates. Stocks fell sharply Monday, losing about 2.5%.
When we look at these two events, the president making these comments, saying he could fire the Fed, and then also listening to the Fed chair saying, I'm going to push back against this, we have a real crisis of confidence.
The Dow is on track for its worst April since 1932 during the Great Depression. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The International Monetary Fund released its economic outlook this morning. It shows the U.S. and global economies has significantly worsened. The IMF revised its forecast for the U.S. economy to grow at 1.8%, down from its previous forecast of 2.7%. More chances for rain this week. First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano has your certified most accurate forecast out on the weather patio and dry for the rest of the day, Jacob.
Yeah, we're not expecting rainfall until potentially later tonight, so it's going to be similar to yesterday where we're seeing cloudy skies right now, but we're going to see partly sunny skies by the end of the day, and temperatures will also be a lot better today. Now, looking at the current radar, we are just about done with the showers. We are done with them in Dane County, but for parts of our area, still seeing some lingering precipitation. All that consistent rain, though, in the southeastern portion of Wisconsin, and like I mentioned, we're not going to see much for the rest of the day. We could continue to see a few on and off clouds, but overall, we are going to see more sunshine as we get into the later portion of the day. Now, temperatures right now, middle 50s for Madison, already warmer than the high temperature yesterday, lower 60s further west. And as we go throughout the afternoon, those temperatures for everyone are expected to get into at least the 60s, maybe 50s for further areas further north and east. But we also could hit 70s for places in southwestern Wisconsin. So it's really going to be a very nice afternoon. Definitely get out and enjoy the weather. Now, later tonight, we are going to see potentially some rain, mainly for areas south of Madison, as low temperatures drop into the 40s. But we're going to continue to see rainfall for your Wednesday with even more precipitation further into the forecast. So it's a very typical April forecast. The good news is that temperatures will continue to be nice, but I'll have the rainfall forecast coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, we'll see you then. Thank you. Well, preparations are underway for the funeral of Pope Francis as leaders of the Catholic Church begin gathering to decide the future. The first images of the pontiff came on the same day Vatican officials announced his funeral will be held Saturday in St. Peter's Square. The 88-year-old who died Easter Monday after a stroke that caused heart failure left behind specific instructions for a simple burial at Rome's Basilica of St. Mary Major with a one-word inscription on his tomb. Franciscus, that's his name in Latin.
There is a sense of a void that is somehow going to have to be filled. But coupled with that immediately is also the intrigue of what comes next.
The Cardinals will be choosing a date after Saturday's funeral to begin their conclave to elect the church's next leader. Still ahead for us this afternoon, why Harvard University is suing the Trump administration, plus when the Department of Education plans to begin collecting involuntary payments for student loans.
President Trump escalated his war of words against Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. On social media, the president called Powell a major loser while pushing the Fed chair to lower interest rates. U.S. stock indices reacted, slumping around 2.5% each to close out Monday. White House officials have mused over how to remove Powell, especially after he warned last week that the president's policies on trade could cause an economic slowdown. Student loan defaults could lead to wage garnishment. The Department of Education announced it will begin collecting involuntary payments on May 5th. Default payments were paused during the COVID-19 pandemic. More than 5 million borrowers are in default, according to the department. Letters notifying those affected will be sent in the coming weeks. And Harvard University is suing the Trump administration, accusing it of illegally freezing more than $2 billion in federal funding as part of an effort to control the university's academic programs. Other universities have also faced mounting pressure from the Trump administration in its efforts to crack down on anti-Semitism. A White House spokesman responded to the lawsuit, saying Harvard fails to meet basic conditions for taxpayer funding. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the stock numbers at the noon hour. The Dow is up 1,000 points, NASDAQ up 480, and the S&P 500 up 141. Our Call for Action volunteers are in the building taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. Call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call-for-action. We'll have today's farm numbers along with the first warn forecast ahead. Then later on Live at 4, Dr. Jeff Potoff on what researchers say about the effects of CT scans on your body. Well, welcome back this afternoon. UW Health clinical dietitian Michelle Harnish is back with us, and we're talking about soy in foods today because it's a big month.
Yes, in case you didn't know, April is National Soy Food Month. So I thought I would kind of highlight all of the different ways soy is used and dispel some of the myths that are out there still about soy.
So we shouldn't be scared of soy is what I'm getting from you.
Right. There was a concern about the hormone similarity with some of the compounds in soy, and so people were nervous about cancer and thyroid conditions. All of the studies that have been done giving people multiple servings of soy a day has not had any detrimental effects, and in fact, soy has been shown to be positive when it comes to cancer prevention and cholesterol control and blood sugar control. So yes, you can definitely have soy multiple times a week if that's how much you want to eat it.
And there's obviously many different foods, liquids that you can get it in, right?
Yep. So you see kind of the word edamame and soybeans, and the difference there, because it's the same plant, but edamame is the immature bean. So it's green and round and plump, and that's what you see if you're having an appetizer, if you're having it in salad, or if you're having it a roasted crunchy snack. And then when it becomes mature, it becomes flatter and kind of a creamy color. And so we don't really see that in itself as a food, but we mix it in for a lot of the things like the tofu and the soy milk, even soy sauce. So you can see soy spread, in lots of different areas, and it's a very healthy item.
I think it's important to talk about because I think a lot of times you're right. I've always heard soy in the past, and it's kind of like put it to the side, but you're saying we really don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, it's gotten a really unfortunately a bad reputation, and for people who are looking at more plant-based eating, especially on Earth Day, soy is a great alternative. The protein is a complete protein, which means it has all the essential amino acids that our body can't make on their own. And usually people are getting that from meat products, but here's a plant-based option. And also it has healthy fats in it. It's got a lot of fiber. It's a really great product. And it can be fun to kind of explore different options.
Well, and it's like anything else, everything in moderation. You can still enjoy it, don't do too much of it, but you don't need to be scared about it either.
Yeah, it's a great ingredient to throw in as an extra. If you're having a plant-based meal once a week, that's a good alternative. And there's lots of different options out there to try.
All right, very good. Michelle, thank you so much for your advice. Happy Soy Month.
Yes, you too.
Let's send it over to Jacob for a final check of the forecast.
Thanks, Josh. We're going to continue to see the chance of rain this week, but not for the rest of today. In fact, enjoy the weather today because we're going to see highs in the 60s, and it's going to be dry for the rest of today. And then Wednesday, although temperatures will be nice, we are expecting the chance of showers and storms for most of the day. Now, once we get into Thursday, mostly dry weather is expected. It looks like areas northwest have a better chance of rain Thursday, but most of the region shouldn't see too much precipitation, and it will be nice. More consistent rain again Friday, then nice for the weekend.
All right, Jacob. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you with more Live at 4.